Peace, beloved souls. Peace, peace, peace. All right, we're back. Hey. I'm so excited to talk with you all, and I'm super excited that last week when I sent out the video about wanting to receive topics and suggestions and questions, you all responded so well. Like, it was awesome. All the emails that I've gotten back, people checking in, letting me know how they're doing, people I haven't spoken to or talked to or sat with in over a year. It was beautiful. So I'm really grateful. Y'all keep it coming, keep it coming. So we're going to be doing this every week. I have been trying to find something to really commit to in a way that I want to be authentic. I want to make sure that I'm showing up in a way that's showing my truth, expressing my truth, and also that is in balance with my life and my lifestyle. Like, I don't want to be on here being fake, forcing anything. I really want to be real. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Our first little topic today is motivation. I got to write in from, I'm going to do initials unless you all say that you want a shout out. So until then, from SP, who sent in a question about saying some things I'm struggling with are motivation to finish my master's degree. So I've been there. I have been there, finding the motivation to do things, especially things within the system, right? We sometimes struggle with that because we're trying to figure out, where does this align with my lifestyle? So that's the first thing that usually we have to do. I know when I was going through my undergrad and graduate, undergrad was very difficult. It has taken me several years to get both done because from switching degrees to really figuring out who you are, especially when, you're in your young adulthood, you're dealing with lots of changes in your life, still trying to figure out where you want to live, what kind of person you want to be, where do all these other different qualities, and if the work field is really going to benefit what you're trying to give your purpose to into this world, right? So for me, when I was making that decision, I really didn't account for the lifestyle that I wanted. I just knew that it was a certain point that I did want to get into a healthier lifestyle. And that meant mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So how did that align with the work that I was going to be doing in my schoolwork? It more so was beneficial when I had to learn how to balance my work life, work, school, schedule, and everything like that, than it was actually obtaining, some of the things that the certifications and the qualifications and the education and all that stuff that was actually in the school setting itself. But it came to a point where I had to just make the decision, when I get this degree, or after I complete this certification, how is it going to fit into the lifestyle that I am creating for myself? Not what the world is creating, not what mom and daddy is creating, not what everyone else thinks I should be, but how does this align with my lifestyle? And if you end up with this expensive piece of paper that you are not going to use, that you are not going to it really doesn't fit into what your purpose and your passions are, then it ends up being a waste of energy and time, in a sense. I believe that all things are cumulative. So it's even time periods in my life that I felt like, it was probably, I definitely would have made different choices, but I can see how now I have integrated, even if a little piece of that, how I've integrated that into the lifestyle that I have now. So when you're worried about or thinking about motivation, I know sometimes that looks like a lack of discipline. It looks like, you falling behind on your schoolwork. You're not showing up to class, or you're not, going to work, or whatever the actual setting is in which you're lacking the motivation is. It shows up like discipline, but it might not actually be the lack of discipline. I know for me, I'm a very disciplined person. Once I set my mind on something, my intentions on it, and I feel inspired to do it, then I can be motivated to do it. I can be disciplined to do it. But the lack of motivation comes from the actual inspiration, right? So finding the inspiration in the things that you, what inspires you? What inspired you in the first place to get your master's? You know, what inspire you to get these certifications, to do the things that you want to do in life? You know, whether it's from, you know, getting up to work out or getting out to talk to people or whatever it is, you have to find inspiration. What's going to actually inspire you to motivate you and to move you into that space that you need to be to get what you need to get, right? And then once you've understood, okay, this fits into my lifestyle because I can actually use this, right? And I'm always finding inspiration to help motivate me to use it, right? So we're going to, it will come a time where you're going to understand how it aligns in your life. And that goes back to what I was talking about with really recognizing that everything in life is accumulative. So it's everything kind of comes back full circle. That's why we have these cycles and these patterns, and sometimes we go back to do things over and over again because we have to figure out, how does this align? You know, does this behavior, does this action, does this schooling, this education, this job align with my lifestyle? Does it align? Does it fit into that part of my life? Does it align with my purpose? Does it align with my passions? Does it align with my gifts? Does it align with why I'm here to do what I'm going to do? And then once you get clear on that, because that can be cycles, you know, like I said, you can come back to that several times, especially, you know, when you're in certain settings where you're in societal constructs that have a lot of pressure around you making sure you complete something, or you making sure you get good grades, or you know, do good ethical work, or whatever that looks like. So I don't know what's going on in my video, but gonna keep it moving. So you definitely want to make sure that you are motivated, and an important piece of that is, you know, keeping people around you to help support that, to help support where you are in that part of your life. You know, to have people that's gonna say, yeah, you said that you really didn't want to do that, or you said that you wanted to do this because of this. You know, to keep you kind of in focus and aligned with what you're saying you want to do and complete. Or somebody can really look at it from an outside perspective and look at it and say, look, you know, you've been struggling, you haven't really been taking care of yourself while you're trying to make this happen. Maybe it's time to sit back down and look how this aligns with your life. Look and see what your real motivation is for doing this work, right? Awesome. So the next question we got is relationships. I'm moving right, like from that, having those people around you that are going to motivate you and keep you and support you through your life, is about relationships. I had a next question from Marsha D, who asked, how do you handle toxic partners or toxic people in your life when the people are your children? Thought this was a very, very interesting question. And I've done a video on toxic relationships before, and I just feel like it's one of those things where we have, you know, it's the same thing with the canceling culture. You know, we are canceling people out of our lives, we're cutting people out of our lives. We're so quick to just call people out, cancel people out, and call them toxic. But we have to really, you know, find the true motivating factors for why we feel like that person is so toxic. A lot of times, the person is actually toxic because we have expectations for them that they don't have for themselves. And that might look like, you know, them not doing what you want them to do. Not them being who you know, you want them to be. So, you know, the motivation behind, you know, calling them toxic or cutting them off is really not about them and what's right for them in their life, especially when it comes to children. Children is a lot harder. I would especially say in the Black and brown community, we have a really long cultural like practices of raising our children with really, really strong fists, in a beautiful way. But and I don't mean fists like abusively, so I just want to like be clear about that because that's not healthy. But I mean just really making sure that we are like really restrictive on a lot of things, especially when you're raising them in certain settings or in under certain religious cultures. It's very restrictive. And we think that we grew up with this ideal that, parents is my way or it's the highway. It's you do things my way or you get out of my house. And I think we need to really, 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 really reel back on that and understand that we all come here with, some type of lesson, some type of life path, destiny, whatever it might be. And even our personalities exhibit that, as early as, these babies now, as early as soon as they come out. But usually around 7 years old is when they really start to express, what it is that, and that through their personalities that they are doing and they're here for, and what's the lessons, and, what's showing up in, are they temperamental? Are they, going to struggle with mood swings or depression or whatever it might be? So I think that's one thing we really need to be clear on as parents when we are, raising our children, is recognizing that they come here with their own purpose, their own life paths, their own lessons that they're going to have to go through themselves. So why put more pressure on having expectations about what we think they should be? The purpose of us to, being parents is to guide. It's not to restrict. Is to guide and to make sure that we are providing safe spaces and environment and emotional spaces and mental health spaces, so that they can flourish, so that they can make conscious choices on their own. And that's what it's mainly about. The word toxic really, when you look at it in a dictionary, it's really about the impact of harm. So when you think about a toxic person, people that are toxic are usually those that are harming themselves or harming others, whether consciously or subconsciously, and it becomes a vicious cycle. And a lot of times, most times, some of those people that are toxic are consciously doing it. We just really want to be careful about calling people toxic that aren't yet to the awareness of where they can, where they haven't had enough guidance and support also in figuring out things for themselves. So haven't had enough space, haven't had enough guidance, haven't had enough support to be able to make conscious choices for themselves. When parents are, or anybody, older than them that are constantly in their ear and in their energy about, what they need to do, doesn't give them the opportunity to decide on what path is theirs in the first place, or whether or not they feel into that, So it's just really important, especially with children, to be mindful of our own expectations. Be mindful of our spiritual, our spiritual purpose in being their parent is to guide and to support and to provide safety. So it can get really deep. So, I encourage you to, have support around that yourself. Again, to have, it's always easier to raise children, especially children that, show up as being difficult, which is actually, or challenging, should I say. I don't like to say bad because I really don't agree with that whole construct. I really believe that, we are what, a lot of the times we are with the choices that have been given to us. And some personalities can show up really, really hard and really, really, resistant when they are challenged against their will. So yeah, and that it can be a time here where we might have to go into, like, family therapy. You might have to, call upon your elders. You might have to call upon your family to get really support around that. And you might need to do that for yourself as well, so that you can make sure that you are, like I said, coming from a safe space. So I appreciate you all sending in these topics and suggestions and topics. It really allows us to really connect, and I enjoy sharing with you all the things that you really need in your life in order to keep going and to flourish and to grow and to love and to live your truth. So keep it coming, keep it coming. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can subscribe to the email as well. But if you really want to just tune into these videos, subscribe to this YouTube channel. And I will look for you all once a week, and we will see you then. So make sure you follow Professor Joy Mayat. Peace, be love, and live truth as always.